Disclaimer! The following episode contains spoilers for Star Wars Episode 9 Rise of Skywalker. Don't go crying to your mum if we spoil it for you. You've been warned! Welcome to Podcapers, the official podcast of a place to hang your cape. And this week... this movie sucks. It could have been good, but it fucking isn't. Let's get this over with. Cue the music. Hello there, Capers, and as I said, welcome to Podcapers, the official podcast for Place to Hang Your Cape. My name is Scott James Merridew, and this is the show where I talk about various geek and nerd-related topics, and are joined each week by a very special different guest. May I take this opportunity to wish each and every one of you a very Merry Christmas! And for this special Christmas episode, I am joined by our editor of Podcapers, it's Alex Mirabal.
Hello.
How are you, Alex? Enjoying the season?
Yeah, this movie kind of tried to destroy that, but it was fine.
Oh, no. Don't you understand? Star Wars and Christmas, they go hand in hand. After all, who can forget that it's an ancient tradition going back to the 1970s with fucking the Star Wars Holiday Special? I should have said Happy Life Day to everyone. Really piss people off.
Right.
Oh, God. It's infamous. I have not brought myself to watch that thing yet. I just can't. My heart can't take it.
I have watched videos of other people talking about it.
Same, but it's...
that's it.
That's all I can bring myself to do. There's only so much Roger Corman, whatever his name is, that a man can take. Stir whip, what? No, we've got enough nonsense to deal with. Like, this movie, I wanted this movie to be good. I wanted it to be good. I want to like Star Wars movies again. Well, I mean, there's 3 that I do like when George Lucas isn't fucking with them. But then this, so I think we can officially declare the Star Wars sequel movies a bust. They're just not good.
I actually think The Force Awakens is like okay, and The Last Jedi was better than The Force Awakens, but this movie just takes everything that they were kind of working towards and threw it out the window and decided, fuck it, we're going to do everything else differently, because obviously J.J. Abrams did not have a plan for the whole trilogy. Yeah. He was just kind of making up it as he goes along.
If there is one thing that is wrong with the Star Wars movies, is that no matter which trilogy, prequel, sequel, or original, they never had a plan. They never sat down and said, okay, let's plan these 3 movies, which with the original trilogy was fair. They were just making the 1 movie initially. They didn't know they were going to be making 3. Then it became uber popular. Then it was just like, okay, well, let's make more of these. So, like, Luke and Leia Frenching it up, not behind the scenes, not really their fault. The prequel
well, I think
trilogy...
George had a general plan for 9. Like he knew this general story for all 9, and
but Bob Iger fucking stabbed him in the back.
Right. Yeah. So I mean, I think he had some idea of what was going on in the original trilogy, and then at least partially an idea during the prequels, because at least they're like, you know where it's going. Like you can only really get to one point, and it's all these Jedi have to go, and Anakin has to become Darth Vader. There is no plan for this trilogy. There's no point they have to get to with this trilogy, and so they just threw spaghetti at a wall, and it all slid down, and nothing was able to stick.
I think you hit the nail on the head. Because here's the thing. This came out recently because Bob Iger released a book in which he detailed, rather oddly, ironically, proudly, about, not just about, but we had bits in it, just dealing about how George Lucas and he had a verbal agreement, which is a fucking red flag if you've ever seen that movie about the founding of McDonald's, a verbal agreement that they would follow George Lucas's vague outline or plot ideas for the sequel trilogy, and surprise, surprise, Georgie Porgy, they fucking lied to you because that's what Disney does. They stabbed him in the back, they went in a completely different direction, cut him out of the creative process altogether, and here's the thing about George Lucas. I've said it before, I'll say it again. George Lucas is a genius, but genius is not some magical thing that always produces gold. It needs guidance. It needs direction. You need to be able to say no to geniuses every once in a while. It's why M. Night Shyamalan was so crap for so many years. He's a very talented filmmaker, but then everyone said, oh, you're so brilliant, you can do whatever and it'll be awesome. And you know what? He fucking believed you. He believed all of you, and then he went and made crap for years and years and years. And it was the same with George Lucas. No one said no to him when doing the prequels, compared to Empire and Return of the Jedi, where he collaborated with people and worked with people and produced great results. And it was a difficult process for him, which I think is why, for the prequels, he was the writer and director of all three. But still, it produced great results. And he had that opportunity to go back to that, collaborate with J.J. Abrams, collaborate with Rian Johnson, all these people, and just create some great stuff together because he is a visionary. But they said, nah, we're going to cut you the fuck out because we're Disney. And you can't work with Disney. You can't. You can work for them. They're happy for you to work for them, but they'll never let you collaborate. They have. I've known people. I was taught in university by a guy who briefly worked for Disney. And he said that it's very cult-like. It's similar to Apple in that they have a select way of doing things. They don't like you questioning it. And there's no wiggle room. There's no bargain. It's say, okay, yeah, but what if we try? No. This is how we do things. And if you're fine with that, fine. But here's the thing. In addition to being cultish and slavish to their own methodology and dogma, Disney are not risk takers. They do not take chances. They do not try things outside of the box they've established for themselves. Because when they do, it doesn't turn out great for them, and they've learned not to do it. And
I mean, I think that's that's what this movie is a response to. Is they tried something new with Rian Johnson. It became this horrible shitstorm of people overreacting, and they overcorrected by firing the guy who was supposed to direct this movie and rehiring J.J. Abrams.
That is part of the problem. But also, here's the thing: I've had a long time since The Last Jedi to think about Rian Johnson, and I think I talked about this before, but I'll say it again. Have you seen the movie that's come out recently, Knives Out?
I fucking love that movie. My God, it's so good.
It's a brilliant fucking movie. I love whodunits. I love murder mystery. It's a fucking cool, modern murder mystery. And it's the sort of thing that Rian Johnson does with Looper and Brick. He's better at that sort of thing. Why he got hired to do Star Wars Episode 8, I'll never know. But okay, so this is a guy who clearly has a unique artistic vision and knows how to enact it. You can't work with Disney on that because I imagine, I don't know, I do not know this, but I imagine they gave him quite a few notes. A lot of notes. This is my personal assumption. I'm not saying this is what happened. Maybe one day we'll find out yes, maybe one day we'll find out actually no, or maybe somewhere in the middle. But I imagine that here's a guy who came up with a lot of ideas. Maybe some will work, maybe some wouldn't. But Disney said, no, we need this, we need this, we need this, we need this. And you're always going to get notes from a studio. You're always going to get that. That's fine. That's part of the process. But it's Disney. They're not going to leave anything to chance because they need to make bank, despite the fact that there's a Star Wars and you're always going to make bank.
I think maybe that's where Canto Bite came from in The Last Jedi, was very much Disney's we need to have a fun scene. We need to have fun scenes with fun because this is Star Wars and it's fun. And also maybe we can sell plushies of those weird horse things. So maybe that's where that came from because it really didn't feel like
selling plushies
was
of
part
all
of the
script. We need more plushies. And here's the thing, you're absolutely right that this movie is an overcorrection. It's such a blatant overcorrection. That's one of the many things about it that annoys me. It's so painfully obvious that this is a response to The Last Jedi.
Right.
Rather than just say, okay, look, some people like Last Jedi, some people didn't, some people don't know what to think. That's fine. We'll continue the story and just make this story, the continuation of it, a good one. We'll focus more on character, we'll focus more plot, it'll be more polished, more slime. Maybe we'll take a few less risks, but you know what? It will all be fine because we'll focus. No. Overcorrect, overcompensate. Let's take this a completely different direction. So now we've got plot whiplash, and we're off on a completely different adventure. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, let's actually get into it.
Okay, so so I never watched the trailers for these because I don't watch the trailer. The only trailer I watched for Star Wars, the sequel trilogy, was the very first one, and it caught me by surprise. Just like, okay, yeah, sure, I'll have a look at it, and it looked cool, but whatever. But since then I have not watched the trailers. But due to the nature of the internet, I overheard, Palpatine's going to be in this. I reserve I'm going to talk about Palpatine. Just not quite yet. I am going to fucking talk about my main Mal Palpatine. But I knew Palpatine was going to be in it because his voice was featured in the trailer. And people were like, ooh, Palpatine's going to be in it. Ooh, how's he going to be in it? It set the internet on fire. Okay, fine. And we start off, and because I assumed he would be introduced in the plot naturally. Maybe surprise villain, maybe turn up halfway through in the first act or something. Who knows? The opening crawl says, there's a mysterious transmission coming from the unknown regions or something. And it's the voice of the old Emperor Palpatine. Oh my god, Palpatine's back. Do you want to know the only place you could have heard that transmission? Please don't tell me Fortnite.
Oh, it was Fortnite.
Fuck! I heard about this and I thought, no, that can't be real. They must have shown like a trailer or a special scene from it. But no. So really, the only way you could have seen or heard that transmission from Palpatine is if like a live stream in fucking Fortnite that I don't play.
Right. They definitely, it was like a trailer as far as I'm aware. Is the end of it that they just like broadcasted his voice to the entire game, and it was like 2 little lines about revenge. And that is the transmission that was sent out to the galaxy, which implies that Fortnite is the galaxy, which is kind of hilarious.
So I think the point Disney was trying to make is, if you play PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, fuck you.
Yeah. Fuck PUBG.
So like, okay, they could have included that in Fortnite, fine. Are they going to include it in the fucking movie that most people are going to see? Because most people, like, okay, compared to general movie-going audiences for Star Wars, and the amount of people who play Fortnite, like, I know a lot of people play Fortnite, but more people are going to go and want to go see Star Wars. Even my fucking parents, who are not the most media-savvy movie-going people, they're looking forward to going to see this movie. They haven't seen it yet, but, because, they don't go on the internet, they don't care about spoilers, so,
right.
Even they're excited about it. But we don't get to see the transmission or hear the transmission in the movie. How cool of an opening act that would be. Everything seems fine. The resistance is gaining strength, gaining momentum. It's like, okay, we're running back from the disastrous efforts by a bunch of ragtag teenagers in the last movie. We're getting back. It's okay. Hey, folks, I'm back. Oh, right. Shit. That would have been cool, we get that in the opening lines.
Crawl. It wouldn't have even, made the... it wouldn't have, bloated the plot or anything. It was, 2 lines. Literally. It would have been cool to watch everyone's reaction to that. But nope.
God. And so we get that in the crawl, and then the first scene we get to see Kylo Ren killing a bunch of people in a weird forest in a bunch of fucking slow-mo. What the fuck is slow-mo doing in a Skywalker saga movie? Keep that in fucking Rogue One, Han Solo, the side movies, fine. But we expect these movies to adhere to a certain kind of cinematography. The same ones the original one did, same one the prequel ones did, that works perfectly well and has not aged a bit in my mind. However, they kept that in episode 7, added a bit in episode 8. It's fucking gone now. The sci-wipes and all that sort of stuff, they're kind of there, but it's they've taken on a far more modern cinematic blend, which is fine. For other movies, for Star Wars, no, there's a protocol here. The side stories, again, you can do that. I don't care. That's for you to experiment with. That's fine. This is the fucking episodic Skywalker saga. You keep it fucking classic. Okay, you got that? But no, we get fucking slow-mo, him killing a bunch of people that we don't know and don't care about, fine. And then he gets a Sith Wayfinder device, which is basically a holocron. And I'm thinking, oh shit, Disney listened to my Rescript episodes and stole from them, didn't they? I'm taking this personally. But anyway, he finds a Wayfinder, which is basically like spacey, wacy GPS, and travels to the planet Exegol in the unknown regions, and he discovers, oh my god, it's GLaDOS Palpatine.
Yeah, he's all hooked up to the machine that I like. Like, there's a lot of cool ideas in this movie, and I think that's one of them. None of them are handled well, but
good
it's
ideas
one of them.
poorly executed, because she's just coming there like, okay, so now we're going to test. At the end there'll be cake. No, so Kylo Ren comes there basically to kill him or something, because he's happy being Supreme Leader, and Palpatine's like, oh yes, I know you killed Snoke and all, but who do you think made Snoke? Okay, that makes sense, I guess. Snoke is some sort of clone. They show like vats of failed Snoke clones.
Okay, but the weirdest thing is, like, he could have just been like, I made Snoke as in I trained him. Like, he's one of my guys. But the fact that they pan over to like a bunch of test tubes because he literally made Snoke, because there's no subtlety in this movie whatsoever, is just next level.
You can tell the Disney execs were panicking. Oh no, we can't keep it vague. We can't let people understand. We've got to spell it out for them. But here's the thing. Here's my biggest issue with that. I remember when this was set up in The Last Jedi. Oh wait, no I don't, because it fucking wasn't!
Mm-hmm.
Not even a hint. Like, I mean, I'm not saying you have to set up everything. I'm not saying everything has to link to everything. Blah, blah, blah. But here's the thing. They panicked after Last Jedi. They thought, okay, what do people like? The original trilogy. What was in the original trilogy? Fucking Ian McDiarmid. Okay, can we pull him out of our ass? Oh, yes we can. Here's Palpatine. The wet spaghetti, as you so eloquently put it, has hit the wall. Now let's see if it sticks. Oh, it's sliding. So yeah, now Palpatine's in the movie. Now he's the main bad guy. This comes right the fuck out of nowhere. A couple of things. First of all, Ian McDiarmid is a treasure, and I fucking love him. I thought I just want to establish that. And I like him as Palpatine. He's great in the original trilogy. He's great in the prequel trilogy. Unlimited power! It's so camp. It's so lovely. I love him. I want to cuddle him in like a little Sith plushie. He's lovely. But here's the thing. Not set up at all. That's the first issue. And any reason they're not even hinted at. Second of all, in the old Legends canon, which I know not everyone would have seen, not everyone would have read, not everyone would have played, and that's fine. There's far too much Star Wars canon for any one person to be completely familiar with. I'm a huge Star Wars fan, and I don't know it all. But here's the thing. In the original canon, Palpatine came back. There was a bunch of things with cloning and Force spirits and the descent and the sons and daughters of Han, Luke, and Leia. It was a whole thing. And I haven't read it, I haven't seen it, but I'm given to understand it went over okay. Better than the supposed son of Palpatine / the Emperor, whatever it's called, with 3 eyes called Triclops. We don't talk about him. But the old canon was sometimes a little bit weird, but it was fun. So they clearly ripped it off from the old canon. Maybe they were aware of it, maybe they're not, but they ripped it off from something that was already established to work quite well, like they did with fucking Jason Solo. Remember Jason Solo?
No.
So Han and Leia had twins, Jania and Jason Solo. Jason Solo, fucking cool dude, really great guy, great family man, had lots of adventures, fell to the dark side, did a bunch of horrible stuff, killed Luke Skywalker's wife, and had to be killed by his twin sister, who loved him with all of her heart. It was fucking epic! And now we get, I'm tortured by the light side, no, my dad, it's weak sauce. But okay, that's another separate issue, okay. Going back to my old mate Sheev, did you know that his first name is Sheev?
No.
His full name is Sheev Palpatine, and I shall refer to him as either Sheev or Pappy-Palps from now on. So, Pappy-Palps is now stuck on the planet Exegol in like his GLaDOS thing, and he's clearly weakened. He's clearly not all there together. I mean, you wouldn't have a particularly, good skin day if you were chucked down a reactor shaft by a former Padawan apprentice
When has he
person.
ever had a good skin day? That guy is nasty.
You know what? In his early days, when you've had ginger hair, he exfoliated, force light into the face, they'll do it to you. But here's the thing. Okay, so we know so little about how he came back. That's the problem. So he was cloned. Did he set up this whole cloning thing before he died as a backup in case he ever did die? How did he get his memories back?
I don't think they don't really say that he was cloned in this one.
Well, I assumed he was cloned, but again, they don't fucking set anything up.
No.
I assume that he survived getting exploded twice on the Death Star? How the fuck would he ever fucking survive that? No, you don't come back from that. I mean...
How does anyone survive anything that happens in this movie? There's so many people that are supposed to die and then don't.
Oh, God. But...
like, that's literally this entire movie is surprised they're not dead.
Yeah, the point I'm making is, Palpatine is thrown into this movie with all the subtlety and grace of a chimpanzee spunking onto Jane Goodall's leg. It's really fucking just clumsy. And then he basically says to Kylo Ren, "Okay, so Kylo, you know this Rey gal you've been crushing on? Yeah, kill her. Just fucking kill her, because she's way too powerful, and I want her dead. And if you join with me, then I can make you overpowerful. And to prove it, whoop, new Sith fleet." And then, fucking hell, he raises a armada of fucking Star Destroyers out from the planet's...
Ghost ships.
Ghost ships. No movie. No. First of all, Palpatine was at full strength, did not fucking have the ability to raise fucking a whole fleet with just his mic. If he could do that, why the fuck would he need a Death Star or any sort of other fleet? Because he could just, like, tear apart the enemy fleet with his mind. No, could not do that. Second of all, did he build those? Who did? How is he staffing these? Is there like a whole planet full of
Ghosts.
Sith Empire loyalists just hanging out on that planet, just like waiting underground? Why were they fucking buried? You cannot build capital ships like that. A, underground, B, in an atmosphere. Those ships were built in fucking space, because you can't build ships like that in fucking Earths.
Especially with mini Death Stars. Every single one of them is a mini Death Star.
Oh yeah. I was gonna say this for later, but I'm glad you brought it up now. Okay, yeah. So every single one of them has like a super mega death beam cannon that has the power of the fucking Death Star, a space station the size of a moon, just built on board as standard, all of which can destroy a planet with one blast. Leaving aside the fact the impracticalities of building those things alone on a planet over a limited amount of decades with nothing but like weird scuttling creatures about you, this means that the Resistance, the Rebels, anyone who ever stood up against the forces of evil are doomed. They fucking plot armor excuse away in this movie, which we'll get to later. But here's the thing. This technology exists. It's out there. It can't be unmade. If they can make it, someone else can make it. And when you have a fleet of Star Destroyers, one of whom can destroy a planet that is far more maneuverable, fast, and has more firepower built into it than an average Death Star, you are fucking unstoppable. I kid you not, these are the most dangerous weapon in all the Star Wars. Have you ever played many Star Wars games?
I played The Force Unleashed, and that's about it.
Fortunately, I like that thing. There's a, in my opinion, better game called Star Wars: The Knights of the Old Republic. I'm assuming you've heard of it.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so spoiler alert for The Knights of the Old Republic. It's an old game, but it's still great. The Death Star of that game is this thing called the Star Forge. It leaches power off of a star, and it's basically a big automated factory that pumps out old-timey Star Destroyers. And that's how the main bad guys of the game, Darth Revan and Darth Malak, were able to amass a huge Sith fleet to take on the Republic, which is the center point for the conflict in the game. They nearly brought their Republic to their knees with a fucking fleet that came out of fucking nowhere, that was established and explained much better, by the way, in the game. But they didn't have planet-destroying technology. I mean, they had laser barrages that could devastate a planet, and in fact, that happens in the game. But they can't destroy a planet with one laser blast. And yet they still managed to bring the Republic to their fucking knees. Can you imagine how quickly that war would be over if they could just... Each and every one of them. It's so... It's not a problem with the technology. I believe that the technology could exist and could be integrated onto a fucking Death Star. It was a fucking leap in logic, but it could be done. You know, this is science fantasy, why not? The problem is narratively. Now, from now on, all the bad guys ever have to do is somehow recreate just fucking one of those ships, and they win. And they fucking win. The good guys win by the skin of their teeth with a bunch of stupid plot armor and stupid, lazy writing in this movie. But going forward, they're done. They're done. This is a fucking nightmare for canon. You cannot give the bad guys in any movie, in any story, power of this magnitude. You just can't.
The number one thing that like amazes me about what they do with this stuff is they don't explain why they can't just take all of them now. There's an assumption, I think, this is all just what I think, like thinking afterwards, that the deal was, I will give you one, and then you go kill Rey, and I'll give you the rest. But that's never laid out in the movie, and they only ever use this one gun once, even though they know that Rey is on a different number of planets, and Kylo insists on going down and killing her himself or whatever. But it's just like they only use it one time when they know that these people are on different planets, and they just like, this would have been so much easier if they just were able to take all of them all at once.
And also, there's only so many planets you can destroy before your empire is barely holding together. Like, yeah, it's a very good intimidatory thing, but you know what? That's a planet full of resources and people that you can use that now you can't. Like, you can't invade a bunch of rocks. And also...
And then they've
Go on.
The First Order's already killed 5 previously. Yeah. Right? It was like 5 that died in The Force Awakens?
Yeah.
So, like... Why do they keep needing to up the planet body count? It doesn't make, like, it really just makes it less impactful every time they do it. And that's something I appreciated about the Last Jedi. It was such a personal conflict. We didn't have, like, you know, galaxy scale, like, we're worried that, you know, if they get somewhere, they're gonna blow out that planet. It is literally just a car chase. And it's like real, like, it's a personal conflict. It's not a massive overarching conflict because it's impersonal in this situation, and it sucks. It was like one of the biggest complaints about The Force Awakens was that they just did the Death Star again, and then they did it again this time, except there's more of them.
It shows they don't know or don't care to write about a credible threat that isn't a big planet blower upper thing. Like, it's... You say the more times you do it, the less impactful it becomes. And they could not figure out to create a credible threat that did not have the scaredy thing of, like, I remember when I was a kid and I first saw Alderaan got blown up. That was fucking scary to me. I had nightmares about that. I imagined planet Earth getting blown up by the Death Star and how powerless. I pictured myself in the role of the Alderaanians, and it's scary. And then the second Death Star came out and it didn't blow up a planet, but it's like, oh, the Spectre has come back. It's kind of scary again, even though it's not the best idea, being honest. There's a bit of criticism of Return of the Jedi, but it's all right. But then Starkiller Base and these things, it's just, the more times you use it, the less scary it becomes, and it's just, it doesn't work on any level. It doesn't work on any level.
Rogue One did a good job with it by actually showing what it's like trying to get off a planet that's being shot by the Death Star. Like, and it's not even like it's not the full power Death Star, so like it's not even the full planet. I mean, it's probably the planet's gonna die eventually after this blast, but like they're really blowing up like one city, and it's horrifying.
But part of that is because it's the Death Star. The Death Star. The
Right.
iconography alone is intimidating. I don't really care about a fucking Death Star destroyer when there's a fucking million of them. I mean, threatening, yes, I recognize it's a credible threat, but I'm not scared of that. Me, the audience goer, am not scared of that. But we can't talk about this all day. We
Right.
need to talk about what's going on with Rey. And I actually get a pretty cool scene. She's training on this planet with Leia, the dear departed Carrie Fisher. And before we go any further, I want to say, I was worried. I think we all were worried about how Carrie Fisher's character was going to be shown in this movie. How they're going to get around her tragic time passing. Obviously, that's far more of a tragedy than what could ever happen to her character in this movie. But all the same, and I thought they handled her passing and the character's presence in the movie, I thought, rather well.
Yeah, I think that, and I absolutely adore the idea of Leia being Rey's master. Like that, I wish it was a little bit more set up that she has been actually using the Force for a while, and not just like a big surprise. She does use the Force in
Not
The Last
Mary
Jedi.
Poppinsing through space.
Right. But I think that's actually the one thing they did actually carry over from The Last Jedi was Leia actually using the Force, which is nice. But I adore that and they probably would have gone more into that had they not. It's kind of obvious when they ran out of footage to use of Carrie Fisher and needed to just get rid of her.
It still works within the context of the story, though.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So,
I mean, I'm sure like she would have told, she would have had that conversation instead of Maz Kanata having she needs to die now, like basically looking at the camera and saying, we ran out of footage, so she's gonna die. Sorry.
They used like unused footage from The Last Jedi and stuff like that. I was worried they're gonna like digitally recreate her like they did in Rogue One, but they don't do that.
They do that, but not here. but not like Carrie Fisher as an older woman as we knew her, but Carrie Fisher as in the original trilogy.
Yeah. No, I remember now. You're talking about. And Billie Lourd, her daughter, who's also in the movie, very kindly gave them permission to use the likeness and stuff like that. So I'm glad that all right. So Carrie Fisher's presence in this movie, Leia, no complaints. And then we get a scene with Rey like meditating in midair or like rocks floating about her. It's a cool scene. And then she goes on like an assault course, like a Jedi assault course, and it's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool scene to seeing just like Rey do these things. Also, Rey did she wear any other clothes other than like that sort of roby stuff that she wore in the original? Like there's other styles, Rey.
She did variations on it. I think the Force Awakens had like the all white and kind of brown, and then The Last Jedi had the gray and kind of black and white, and then this one had the all white with the hood, and it's very Jedi-esque.
And so she's doing that. Meanwhile, Finn, his hetero life mate Poe Dameron, and Chewbacca they're so into each other. They're so gay.
They're so gay.
But
they had to no homo Poe into oblivion. Sucks.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, they did. They did. Now that I think about it. But anyway, we'll get on to that. So, and Chewbacca, they come back to the Resistance, which is not completely destroyed. I thought there was only like half a dozen, but apparently there's more. They come back with basically news like, okay, turns out there's a spy within the First Order. Oh, well, we know like 2 characters within the First Order, one of whom is the supreme leader of it, so I wonder who the spy is. Oh, maybe it's newcomer Richard E. Grant. Yeah, nice try for the fake out. Like, it's so obviously Domhnall Gleeson. It's so obviously General Hux, because who else could it fucking be? Unless it's a new character.
Because we don't know anyone in the... What does Hux do in this franchise? What does he do? He gets his ass beat by Kylo and he bitches about it. And that's it. That's all he does.
Fuck it. You know what? Between this movie and the fucking Peter Rabbit movies, Domhnall Gleeson looks ridiculous, and he shouldn't, because he is a phenomenal actor who's capable of a wide range of roles, and he's not in good movies now, and I hope that changes. I hope this changes for all of them, because this is a great cast. It really is. And I had problems with Daisy Ridley's acting in the first one, and I had problems with John Boyega's acting in the second one, but you know what? They're all great. They're all great actors, and they deserve better than this. But they're going to go on to bigger and better things. I know it. They are.
I think the only person who didn't give it their 100% in every single scene, I think, is Oscar Isaacs, and he's explained why and in what scenes, and we'll go into that probably later.
Please do, because I'm not aware of this. But yeah, so they come up with information about a spy, and they basically say, "Oh yeah, by the way, Palpatine's definitely back." It's a whole thing. And Rey discovers, like a bookmark in Luke's Jedi books about a Sith dagger or something that could potentially lead them to Palpatine. I don't know why there would be an ancient Sith dagger that leads them to the latest iteration of the Sith, who just happens to be hiding out somewhere in the last couple of decades. But you know what? Fucking whatever. Maybe they didn't mention it's ancient. I don't care. Fine, let's just get the plot going already. And so Rey, Poe, Finn, Chewbacca, BB-8, and motherfucking C-3PO. I'm so glad he's back in these movies instead of basically being in the background, because I fucking love C-3PO, and it's not because I sound like him. It's not because I sound like... Okay, so people have occasionally commented that I sound a bit like Auntie Daniels in these movies, and I don't. And here's why. C-3PO sounds like, R2-D2, where are you? And I sound like, R2-D2, where are you? See, it's completely different! Okay? Moving on. So they all tool off in the Millennium Falcon. Actually, is it in the Falcon? Yeah, it's in the Falcon. To find a contact that Luke apparently knew. Ooh, I wonder who it could be. Possibly that guy we saw in the trailer. Who knows? But R2-D2 stays behind with Leia because R2-D2 does not move fast, and you know they're going to be running because action scenes. And so they go to this planet, Pasana, which I'm pretty sure is the name of a curry I had the other week. And there's like a big festival going on with all these cool alien species. And it looks really nice and colourful and adds a bit of like, not so much lore, but, you know, a bit of life into the Star Wars world. Like, oh, it's a festival, and they kind of give them like lays and stuff, and it's pretty cool. And then they meet motherfucking Lando Calrissian, the smooth, buttery smuggler we all love. Oh, Lando, have my babies.
Who is also just there.
Yeah, he's just that. Oh yeah. So apparently, when Luke initially disappeared, it was because he was tooling around looking for Palpatine, and he did so with Lando. Now, I'm not saying he wouldn't do that, but I'd like an explanation why. Why Lando? Well, I couldn't really bring Leia or Han into it because I wanted to save them, and I'm not that much friends with Lando, and but you know what, also, like, I can trust him. He's a good guy, and he's really...
If Lando dies, I wouldn't be too broken up about it. It's kind of I can think the idea that Luke had there.
Yeah. Lando, I like you, Lando, but let's be honest, out of all the friends I've got, you're the one I've known for the least amount of time, so you're expendable. You get it right. Hey baby, whenever floats your boat, let's go and have an adventure. I can't do a Lando impression, but one day I shall. My goal in life is to become as close to Billy D. Williams as I can, which is difficult because I am the whitest person that ever exists, but it's my dream. Don't take it away from me. But so he basically says, like, okay, it turns out there was a Sith assassin who sounds like a really fucking cool character, but spoiler alert, is dead in this movie. So we don't get to see him. We don't get to see any.
And we get like no idea about who this person is, and just kind of this person's suddenly really important. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, I barely get a look at him, except for in flashbacks. It's fucking flashbacks. Why are there fucking flashbacks? And
so many flashbacks.
And a bunch of like references to his names. Like, here's the thing about Star Wars. I like Star Wars. I love Star Wars. You really got to pay attention to the names because they all sound like gobbledygook. And if you can't put a name to a face, it's very difficult for you to keep track of who's who.
Mm-hmm.
But then because Kylo and Rey have a fucking Force bond, which is not unprecedented in Star Wars mythology, I want to put that out there. Fucking KOTOR 2. Think about that. They find out that they're on the First Order. Find out that they're on this planet. They get stormtroopers there really fucking quickly. I guess they were in the neighborhood, and chase after them. And then we get fucking. It's a chase scene. It's an action scene. He comes around the second Noah. Okay, cool, fine. A fun chase scene through the desert. That's fine. With fucking explodey coloured dust flares in the sky. Cool. Fine. Could you maybe, just maybe, not make so many fucking Marvel quips?
Oh my god. It was like, literally they paid off something that Leia had said, like, not even 5 minutes ago. They paid off a joke from 5 minutes earlier.
It's so fucking obnoxious. And here's,
I mean, they had done the I have a bad feeling about this in a way that was just so ham-fisted and awful that I was like, God, okay, yeah, we get it. You have to say it once and you forgot, so you just put it in here.
Oh my God, stormtroopers. Oh, I have a bad feeling about this. There, I said it, okay? It's fucking... Yeah, but here's... Star Wars was funny. The original trilogy was funny. It was very funny. It was a very naturalistic kind of funny, with the humour arising from the situations. Like, occasionally a character will make a kind of a quip, but it was like Han made layback sort of comments like, oh, okay. And that's why it was funny, because it felt natural to the characters. Here it feels like, oh, Marvel is funny because the characters who would naturally make a lot of jokes make jokes, and people like Marvel, so let's cram this into these movies. Like, I can understand Poe making the occasional snarky remark or something like that, or, you know, Finn making an exclamation of like, oh shit, what now? But like beyond that, it's just like, oh, they fly now. Oh shit, they fly now. Motherfucker, there have been jump troopers in Star Wars canon for years. We know that stormtroopers can fly. We haven't seen it in the movies, fine, fair enough. But we know that they can fly. That's not something you need to make a joke about. And the joke isn't even that funny! Like,
never underestimate a droid.
It's painful. The movie just fucking stops dead for them to fucking casually wink at the camera. It's so obnoxious. Star Wars can be funny. Fucking Empire Strikes Back, that was fucking hilarious because he had people like basically bullying C-3PO for 60% of the movie. That was funny. But it wasn't obnoxious. It wasn't forced. And this is so very forced. They fight them off. They kill the stormtroopers. They get...
in very violent ways. I was like, geez, like 2 people explode.
Yeah. They shoot one of the jetpack troopers in the sky, and he zooms around the screen for like 5 minutes screaming before eventually careening, exploding into the side of a cliff. And it's just like, wow, that's a long death. Wow, okay. I know they're stormtroopers and they're faceless minions of the evil empire, but still. And
then in this movie they go out of their way to make them not faceless. And in The Force Awakens they do that too with Finn. So it's like, we have been actively told by the story that maybe not all stormtroopers are evil. They just have to be, because they work for an evil organization. And if they don't, they'll be killed. Like, oh my God.
Speaking of faceless people, do you know who's in this movie but not really? Rose.
Oh no. I feel so bad for her. I feel so bad for Kelly Marie Tran.
I do too. Like, the appropriate thing for Disney to do would be, okay, some people didn't like a character, and some people were assholes. Let's not acquiesce to the wishes of the assholes and limit her role, but rather take it in a new direction. Maybe she learns something from the event of The Last Jedi. Maybe her character grows and develops. Maybe she stops looking at the world in a black and white way and learns to accept shades of grey. Maybe she matures and develops. Not complete character 180, but the character develops. And we take the character in an interesting way that some people might like, some people might dislike, but if they bully her or say they don't like the character just because they don't like the character, because she's a woman, because she's Asian, for whatever reason, we don't care because we don't cater to bigots. Or you could take the fucking coward's way out and basically acknowledge her presence for all of 5 seconds and then dump her in the background. Like, oh, even then, you could have had her interact with Leia and the rest of the Resistance fighters. No, she turns up like twice in the whole movie, maybe 3 times, and it's always very, 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 very limited. She and Finn barely speak. It's just like, they act like they're fucking embarrassed of her. It couldn't be more obvious if they cut her out of the movie completely.
Right.
It's just like, this is the wrong way to go about it, Disney. What is
Yeah.
your fucking problem? But that could be a whole
There's
episode in of itself.
there's an interview that she had like on some kind of like red carpet or something at a premiere, and a journalist asked her, "Are you happy about the arc Rose got in this movie?" And she like her immediate reaction is to laugh, like she laughs. And she like covers her mouth and she's like, I think people will enjoy the story of this movie, and like moves along. Like,
so do you think Rose had a good arc? Ha! I mean, yeah, sure.
Yeah, it's like the Game of Thrones actors.
Oh, yeah, that was uncomfortable. That was uncomfortable. You know, most of them didn't come back for like season 8 DVD commentaries.
Oh God, of course not.
But anyway, that's the whole thing. So yeah, she's left behind, barely used. And meanwhile, the rest of them kill a bunch of stormtroopers who probably had lives, maybe even families, hopes and dreams, who knows. And they get stuck in quicksand. And Finn says, Rey, there's something I've got to tell you. I never told you, blah, 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 blah. Now, you might be thinking, ooh, what is this? About how he vows the friendship, how he's worried for her, that he loves her? And you wonder, for those since that point in the movie, what exactly it is he means. Well, keep fucking wondering because we never find out.
Oh yeah, JJ told us what it was. JJ's been backpedaling like real hard doing on the like academy circuit where he has to do all this stuff.
Abrams. You know what, JJ. Fucking hell, the same thing with Ryan Johnson. Like, JJ, baby, I love you. You're a great director. When you stick in your wheelhouse and you do like cool stuff, you're a good director. You're really good and you're a really nice guy. You can do a wicked like keyboard solo. Like, that's great. That's great. If you have an idea for something a character says in the movie that needs to be paid off, maybe tell us in the fucking movie and not in a fucking red carpet interview.
Mm-hmm. They did. They mentioned it Poe is like, what were you going to tell Rey? 2 times, and they never go back to it. And it had to be J.J. Abrams saying that he was going to tell Rey that he was Force sensitive, which is the weirdest thing to try to tell someone when you're dying. Not like, it's so obvious that they were actually going for he has a crush on her and just forgot to pay it off, rather than like he was going to tell her he was Force sensitive. That's like when you're dying and you're like, hey, I forgot to tell you I can do a sick backflip. Like, you don't do that when you're dying.
No, oh God. So, I wouldn't mind so much. I take that back. I would mind. I would fucking mind. But it's especially egregious when you think that 4 fucking people came up with a story for this stinking pile of crap. 4 people, and not one of them bothered to write down a post-it resolve thing Finn says when in quicksand.
I gotta believe there was a scene there that they just cut for time, and then they just like someone in editing forgot they needed to do a reshoot, so it wasn't a crush thing, because it's a real bad look for Finn to really have nothing to do except for a crush on Rey, even though they don't really have much of a relationship other than like they've saved each other a few times and they seem to like each other, like they seem to be friends, and that's it. They really don't. They're not that close.
Because it's like they blew their load with Finn in the first movie. Like, he had a pretty interesting idea for a character. Stormtrooper, which I've gone on record as saying as a character idea I fucking love. Kyle Katarn, who? Never mind. But then his whole PTSD, wanted to get away from things, stepping up and getting over it, and just becoming part of the resistance, and finding the side of good for a good reason, or even for just fighting for himself. It's great. That was all done in the first movie. Then they just realized, oh shit, what the fuck do we do with this guy now?
Right. I mean, at least like in The Last Jedi, he had the arc of, I need to, like, okay, maybe I'm not cut out for this, I need to leave. And then he realizes, okay, no, you know what? I am going to do this. And then what is his character arc for this movie? It's nothing. Present. He is there. They do nothing with him in this movie. They could have really gone all in on him, being part of the resistance now and wanting everyone to do their best as they could. They could have done so much with him and him and Poe, and they just don't. They spend the entire movie with his crush on Rey, even though it's not actually there they just forgot to cut out the scenes where he mentions that he has a crush, or it is implied that he has a crush on Rey. Like they forgot to cut those scenes out.
Do you know what would have been cool? If he had to step into a leadership role. Like before he was a soldier, then he was a resistance fighter. Now he's now they actually say in the movie he's like a general. Okay.
He becomes a general like two-thirds of the way through the movie, and it's just like barely a conversation. In fact, it's something I missed. When I got out of the movie, I was like, when did he become a general? And my brother was like, oh yeah, I guess Poe said I need your help with this, and then he called them a general. And I was like, oh, all right, I guess they're generals now. I guess he's a general now. Just okay.
But that could have been cool. Like, okay, so how do I lead other people? That would have been interesting. Not in the fucking movie. But anyway, so they go through quicksand and they come into an underground cavern. They encounter a fucking sandworm that got lost from Dune. And Rey force heals him. Now, force healing, if you've been keeping up with The Mandalorian, is very much a thing in Star Wars. In fact, it's way before The Mandalorian and all that sort of stuff. It's been a very much an established part of Star Wars canon for years and years and years. I mentioned the Knights of the Old Republic game. You could force heal in those games. You could do that. So it's fine. It's fine.
I think there's someone yesterday told me there's an implication that Obi-Wan uses it at some point in A New Hope. He uses it on Luke because Luke is almost like the implication is that is that Luke like basically almost died. And Obi-Wan had to bring him back, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's very much a sort of a headcanon thing. I don't think it was intended, but that would be a good example. Another example would be Darth Vader using Force Heal to perpetuate himself with his anger to keep himself alive in that suit, which wasn't a very good suit, by the way.
Right.
and so stuff like that. So it's very much a thing. It's very much a thing, and I'm fine with it being in the movie. Then Disney had to say, oh, no, let's throw our own spin on it because we're so good at this. And they say, it turns out they have to give a bit of their own life force in order to heal. I did my research on this. I did my homework. I went on fucking Wikipedia. There is no mention of them having to use their own literal life force, like it's a give and take sort of thing, in order to heal. They were like specialized Jedi that were force healers, like Barra Sophie in the Clone Wars and stuff like that was a force healer. So, no, because that would be, I mean, I don't know. Like in The Mandalorian, like it just tires Baby Yoda out. Also, side note, Baby Yoda, aw.
Baby Yoda is adorable. I have not watched a single episode of The Mandalorian, and I don't want to. I just want to see gifs of Baby Yoda.
Watch The Mandalorian. It's a fucking great
I
show.
don't have Disney Plus, and I have zero desire to get it. So.
Oh, when you're a professional pirate. Anyway. So she force heals the fucking sandworm. It buggers off, and then they find the ship of the Sith assassin, and they find this dagger with a bunch of Sith text on it. So like, hey, good job we brought along C-3PO. Like he could translate this, and C-3PO's like, oh my, yes. Let me have a look. I have translated the dagger. Excellent. What does it say? I'm not telling. What? And turns out his programming is such that he's not allowed to translate or say aloud Sith language, which fucking forced
kicks off the most pointless plotline in the entire movie.
Okay, so here's the thing. I kind of get it why the New Republic wouldn't allow Sith writings, but here's the thing. A lot of Jedi studied Sith artifacts. So clearly there wasn't a complete ban on Sith writing, so it's a little bit sketchy,
also,
but you know what, I'll allow it. There's bigger fish to fry in this movie.
He says he needs a complete memory wipe in order for that to be, deactivated. He did have a complete memory wipe.
Yeah, in fucking the end of episode 3.
Right, so who reinstated his ban on Sith writing?
I don't know. Maybe there's a difference thing between programming and memory. It's all very much bullshit. And we'll come back to that in a bit. Meanwhile, the Knights of Ren show up. I thought they were dead, but apparently not. But apparently they're undead because someone calls them ghouls. And guess what? Nothing about them is set up, established, or elaborated upon like everything else in this fucking movie. They show up and they do bugger all. They're just there in the background. But then More like stormtroopers show up. Chewbacca gets captured. How the fuck Chewbacca gets captured, I don't know, because he's motherfucking Chewbacca. But he gets put on a transport ship and flies up. And Rey's like, oh shit, I'm going to use the Force to stop it. Okay, cool. And then Kylo Ren shows up. I'm going to use the Force to get it away from you. Okay, cool. And it's like a big battle between the two of them. And Rey accidentally Force lightnings the transport ship, blowing it up and killing Chewbacca. And I'm like, holy shit. One of the few good things about this new canon was that, unlike in the Legends canon, they where they killed Chewbacca, they weren't going to kill Chewbacca and Chewbacca survived, but now you're telling me Chewbacca's dead anyway? And in the previous canon, he got crushed by a fucking moon, and now he just gets accidentally blown up by Rey off screen? You bastards! You complete and utter cocking bastards! He's not dead, is he? He's not dead, is he? Like, it's gonna be a fake out, isn't it? I wonder, like, are they gonna fake it out, or are they that stupid? The whole movie at this point has been so stupid, I wouldn't put it past them. Turns
the only way it would have...
Sorry, go on.
Real is if we saw side, like, the explosion start.
Yeah, but...
we didn't see the start inside with Chewbacca, so...
Yeah, but here's the thing, though. They say, oh no, it turns out Chewbacca was on another transport ship that no one saw or heard, that apparently was located in the writers' arses.
Yeah, they're just like, nope, surprise, we can't actually kill Chewbacca. There's another transport ship. And I gotta imagine being the stormtroopers inside that transport ship that doesn't have anyone in it, and they're like, what the fuck is happening?
They are so afraid of lasting consequences in this movie. It's the same problem with fucking Frozen 2 again. Fucking Disney, why are you so afraid of stepping outside the status fucking quo? But anyway, so Chewbacca's not dead, but they don't know that. And they power up the assassin's ship, which should not be functional, but it is. Also powering up this cute little robot that serves absolutely no purpose in the movie other than to sell fucking toys. Before this movie started, they showed a toy commercial for that fucking toy. It looks like the fucking blinky lamp from the Pixar logo. It's just like a rejected side character from fucking WALL-E, and it's just there, just to sell toys. There's no point to it at all. Fucking hell. They escape, and basically Poe says, I know a place. There's like one place in the whole galaxy where you could possibly wipe and retrieve the Sith translation from a protocol droid, apparently. I don't know. A planet called Kijimi or something. Turns out he used to be there. And then we go there, and the stormtroopers are all there, like basically just arresting everyone. We don't know why. They're just like going like full Gestapo. And we have no idea why and no context for why. But it's like they have to hide out and sneak from alley to alley. Okay, fine, okay. And turns out it's revealed that Poe used to be a spice smuggler. Spice in this world being a drug. And I'm thinking, oh my god. So like, forget being a smuggler. He was like a full-on drug dealer. He was part of like a huge criminal enterprise and he became a resistance person. Like, that's really interesting. I wonder how this will be explored in this movie. It's not. It's not explored at all. It's like, I was a spice smuggler. Oh my god, do you want to talk about it? No.
No, because if this storyline does well and people like me and Carrie Russell's chemistry, then maybe they'll make a Disney Plus show about it.
Oh yeah. Fucking hell. Oh god, fucking hell. So Carrie Russell in this movie is his ex-girlfriend, Zori Bliss, and she's dressed up like a fucking Power Ranger. I don't know why. She wears a mask all the time. I don't know why. It's never explained. Why? Cool design, I guess, but no,
right.
We know nothing about her.
This is where Oscar Isaac phones it in, by the way.
Yeah, okay, so why is that? Why did he phone it in this scene?
This scene and every scene with her. It is specifically because he was so incredibly pissed that he and Finn didn't get together.
Oh.
Since
God bless
since
you,
the movie came out, Yeah. Since the movie came out, he has been like burning bridges. I saw an interview on Twitter yesterday where he literally said that the Disney overlords wouldn't let him kiss Finn.
Yeah. Yeah. I want to get on to that later. Put a pin in that. Put a pin in that. Because I want to fucking bring... I'm glad you brought that up. But I want to bring that up later. So, they go to Zori and a little cute plush friend that's going to be sold in all the Disney stores. And they go to... They say, we need to do the memory wipe. And it's just like, well, R2 has backups of your memory, right? Why would R2 have backups of his memory? But okay, fine. And it's like, okay, that's a red flag. They're going to reset him at the end of the movie. It'll all be fine. But all the same, it's a rather nice scene with C-3PO. Anthony Daniels just says, this is a really good job. And it's basically just like, well, I don't want to be memory wiped, but if I lose my memories, then there may be hope for us. So I will do this. And I'm just like, fuck yeah, C-3PO. Fuck yeah. Like, he's been in these movies from the very beginning. And he hasn't had that much to do, especially in these last movies. But now he's actually standing up. He's contributing something to the Resistance, and I really like that. The C-3PO fan in me really appreciated that. And
no one really seems to care, though. Like,
I'm the only one, apparently.
Finn, Poe, and Rey just like are like, all right, this is happening. They really like they're the ones that are like, this has to happen. It has to happen. Sorry, dude. And he's like, oh, all right, cool. I guess.
Here's an idea.
Sure.
What if they said, okay, look, we really need this to happen. It's really, really fucking important, but we're not going to force this on you because you're our friend. It's your choice. And that would make it all the more impactful. But apparently, no, he doesn't get a choice.
He doesn't. It's like, this is, I feel like this is literally a fuck you to, what Rose said at the end of The Last Jedi of like, we shouldn't, sacrifice our friends just otherwise we're gonna lose ourselves, just like the First Order. And like, instead of like the valid criticism of that, which was Finn was sacrificing himself and it was his choice, instead they forced this choice on C-3PO. He doesn't have a choice.
Yeah, and so his memory gets wiped. He reveals what the translation was, which turns out to be coordinates. Ooh. And from this point on in the movie, until his memory gets inevitably restored by R2-D2, like, I thought they might have a get-out clause by him saying, like, R2-D2's memory backups are notoriously faulty. So he gets his memory wiped. He doesn't know who these people are. And I'm thinking, like, have they really just completely wiped out his memories forever? I gave this movie too much credit. I don't know why. I guess at the end of the day, I'm an optimist at heart. A stupid, naive optimist. But anyway, so C-3PO's memories are now gone. It leads to a couple of funny moments. Again, actually, it is funny because it's natural. It's not quips. It's just C-3PO being C-3PO. That's why it's funny. But anyway, we talked about that. And so...
at some point, he calls Rey Leia, and he doesn't know why.
Yeah. And so Rey, meanwhile, speaking of, senses that Chewbacca is alive. Oh, thank God I didn't kill him. And basically they say, well, okay, we're going to mount a rescue mission. Okay, this movie is just like a big, like, you know what it's like? It's like a long multiple stage quest in a RPG game. Like one of those ones that gets really tiresome about halfway through. Just like, okay, can this just quest be over? Like, I got the glowing orb and Magoomery Jew. Can we not just... Is this enough? Is it enough? Can I level up? No? Okay, there's more? Okay, fine. And it's a whole thing. So meanwhile, Kylo's searching for Rey. And he's like on the planet. And they go back up to his Star Destroyer with the help of Zori. Who comes around to their way of thinking rather quickly. At first she wants to kill Poe for leaving her, but then it's just like, oh, but we need your help. I don't want to help you, but we really need it. Okay, I don't want to be in this movie because my TV show's over now, so, I got a husband out of it, but I got to make bank, got kids. So, anyway, and, so they go up to the Star Destroyer, and they get Chewbacca out, but then they get captured. And they split up, and Poe, Chewbacca, and Finn are about to be executed. Then Hux kills the people who are about to execute them, and he says, I'm the spy. It was me the whole time, and not Richard E. Grant. Okay, I think we pretty much all guessed that. And then they're like, okay, so why are you the spy? And I thought what he said was rather interesting. Just like, I don't want you to win, but I do want Kylo Ren to lose. And just like, okay, right, so like, it's stupid in terms of betraying the First Order,
It's like
but it makes sense for
petty
Hux.
boyfriend shit. Like, it really
Yeah.
it's nothing.
If I can't have him, no one can. It's stupid. And he says, okay, like, Finn, you got to shoot me in the arm so it looks realistic. Finn shoots him in the leg. It's actually kind of funny. And then
That was good. I like that. He deserved that shit.
And then he goes to Richard E. Grant and says, okay, so they escaped, they overpowered me. So it's a big deal, but we can still get them. And Richard E. Grant is like, yeah, sure we can. And fucking shoots Hux dead. Good news, we found the spy. And Richard's like, Richard E. Grant, where have you been all my life?
I thought he was gonna live. I thought we were gonna do another one of the Psyche He Isn't Dead and he was gonna come back later. But nope, he's dead. They killed Hux.
And here's the thing, I have never liked Hux. He has always been a creepy, weird, shouty, hysterical, overacting fop this whole
Whiny
movie.
brat.
Whiny brat. And I remember the Imperial admirals and captains of the original trilogy. They were serious. They were dignified. They were human in more ways than one. And then and they were intimidating. They were a little intimidating. Not compared to Darth Vader, but still a little intimidating because they took themselves seriously. I could never took Hux seriously. I take fucking Richard E. Grant seriously because he's a great actor and he brings that sort of stoic dignity back to the role. I wish he had been in charge of the fucking First Order from episode 7, but he wasn't because Disney fucking sucks. But anyway, I can't blame it all on Disney, but I'm going to anyway because fuck you, it's my show. And so he kills them. Meanwhile, Rey covers like Kylo's secret fanboy room where he keeps the shattered helmet of Darth Vader. And due to the Force bond thing, which allows them to teleport objects, how? I don't know. Kylo figures out where she is, and they sort of have a Force bond lightsaber fight. I don't know how that works, but and he basically reveals to her, Luke never told you about your father, but Snoke never told you about your father. He told me enough. He told me he and my mum were drunk bitches who sold me. No,
they were nobodies. He literally repeats the line he said in the last movie of they were nobodies.
Yeah. And here's the thing. I've mentioned previously on the show several times that I actually think that whilst that idea was executed horribly, it was still a great idea. Because everyone was saying like, oh, her parents are Obi-Wan, Skywalker, or even Palpatine. Palpatine was floated quite a few times, and it was like, they said, no, she comes from nobody. They were people who sold her for drinking money. That's why. They were just bastards.
I actually, like, the answer, like, they had to spell it out because people are stupid, but, like, in The Last Jedi, but, like, her in that cave, when it says, like, who are my parents, and it shows herself a million times, is because she raised herself. She's her own parents.
Yeah. And it worked. It was like, interesting. It was unique. I wish they'd showed a bit more. Not telling in my rescript, I mentioned a scene where Rey confronts her parents, which we didn't get originally. But I thought it was a great idea. It was one of the few things one of the things I genuinely loved about The Last Jedi. Retcon that shit, because now she's Palpatine's granddaughter.
There were nobodies because they chose to be nobodies, which means nothing. That means nothing.
That is not a... Oh God, it's so rushed and it's so forced. It completely undoes everything that was previously established in Rey's character development. So, like, first she was like, I hope my parents come back. And then she was like, I know my parents were never going to come back. And now she's like, my parents wanted to come back, but they were killed by Palpatine. And now I'm angry about it. And it's just like, fucking hell. First of all, no offense, but who'd want to have sex with old Pappy-Palps? Like, judging by the timeline in these movies...
out. He would have been like 70 or 80 when he had his kid.
Ooh, he had a kid. The kid got married. The kid and the person he married had Rey. And Palpatine apparently knew how powerful she was going to be, so that they had to hide from him. But then he found them and brought them to Hexagon. And I don't know fucking how.
And so somehow somehow this kid, like, and the actor, like, no offense to him, he's not like super attractive. I can believe he's Palpatine's son, but he married someone incredibly hot.
Jodie Comer.
So, yeah. Like,
Jodie Comer has way too small a role in this movie for someone of her talent.
oh yeah, definitely.
Okay, that's the thing. Because these movies, I think it might be because a lot of them were part of them were filmed in Britain and England, but there's a lot of like smaller note British actors in these movies. Not all of them, but there's quite a few of them. People that you might have seen in things like British TV shows and stuff. And it's for
same
me,
feeling
as an
I had
Sorry?
with. Sorry, it's just the same feeling I had when oh god, I can't remember the other guy's name, but the Lauren Cohan and Jeffrey Dean Morgan were like Batman's parents in Batman vs Superman. I'm like,
Oh, yeah.
those people deserve a bigger role than this. Like they've earned more.
I expected Thomas Wayne to whip out a chain like baseball bat, but apparently not.
Right.
So yeah, it's just you know what it is? It's distracting. You could cast anyone in this role, wouldn't it? But we don't, and we get so little time with that character that we don't think of this. Oh, that's Rey's mum. We think, oh, that's Jodie Comer, and we can't get past that because we're not given time to get past that.
I didn't notice it was her. I didn't notice it was her because like the flashback shots are too shaky that I just couldn't tell.
Yeah, it's all in flashbacks, and so Rey is now angry because she's like dealing with a whole like her anger and stuff. And which is all right, that's fine. It's basically what Luke had to go with, but just drawn out unnecessarily. But you know what? It's fine. It's all right. A side thing for a Jedi. But the problem is, it comes from her parents, and it was so stupid. But anyway, I'm just really annoyed that one of the few things I liked about The Last Jedi is now completely rewritten. Thanks, Disney. Thanks a lot. And so,
anyone can be a hero. Nope, that's a lie. You have to eugenics. The answer is eugenics. The only people that can be good at space magic is people with good genes.
Fucking hell. And so, oh god. So they go to another planet, which I thought they mentioned the movie as Endor, but apparently it's not. So it's in the Endor system. I don't know why it wasn't just on Endor. I don't know. But
I mean, I think because Endor, like, based on, what we find on this planet, and like a well-known planet like that would have just been gone. Like, they're too scared to do anything like that.
Yeah, but anyway, and so they go there and they find this these people there, led by this person called
Jenna? Is it Jaina? Jaina or Jenna or something like that?
Yeah, something like that. She's part of like a group of ex-stormtroopers who all defected and all ran away, deserted. And Finn has a nice scene with her, like, talking about how they used to be stormtroopers. It's actually pretty sweet and fun. I'm like, oh, so this will be interesting. It would be cool if we had this in the fucking second movie. And, expanded upon that, but no, it's basically a short scene, and they basically say, okay, so where we need to go is the remains of the second Death Star. What? I'm sorry, what? Because I remember the Road to Return of the Jedi, and I'm pretty sure the Death Star was fucking atomized, like just completely vaporized because the explosion was so big. There was no debris. There's no, but like huge bits of it are just scattered throughout the planet, and it's just like pretty things that are way too intact. A, for the explosion, B, re-entry, and C, crashing onto the planet, and being like the chamber where Luke fought the Emperor and Vader. That's basically there, and it's basically intact. Like, there's a couple of holes in the walls, but it's still pretty good. Like some Febreze, a little bit of like a paint or something. You could live in it. Right.
They really just like. There's a few times in this movie where like not a few times. It's like every 5 minutes. They're like, remember this? Hey, remember this thing? This thing happened. Remember it?
Disney, I have seen Star Wars countless times. I have the fucking DVDs. I've got the original theatrical cut. If I want to watch those movies, I can literally do it whenever I like. And indeed I do. I do it to remind myself of what a good movie was. I don't need a rehash. I explained this all when I saw the fucking episode 7 travesty. Anyway, so
I don't think that, like, because Ryan Johnson doesn't go into that a lot. So I have a feeling that it's mostly JJ who does this. It's like it's his number one.
Well, he
like,
likes to rehash things into darkness.
Right.
Yeah, but anyway.
Yeah.
So Rey sees the Death Star wreckage, takes out the dagger, opens up a little bit of it, and it turns out to fit perfectly where the Death Star lines up with it, which is where they've got to go. And she just so happened to be standing in the exact right position for that to accurately line up. And we're just thinking like, wow, that's an impressive mountain of bullshit there, 4 writers.
Yeah. And you're like, I expected this knife to be some like ancient Sith artifact, and it's not. It means that this knife was made in like the last 30 years. So on this planet too, it was made here. Like on this semi-inhabited planet. So what? Who made this sword and why?
I don't know. It's all so stupid. So she goes to that place and goes for like a little door, and she finds the next Wayfinder thing, and she sees a vision of herself as a Sith with like a snappy 2-blade lightsaber. Okay, cool. I guess because of the dark side presence here. Okay, fine. What does this?
Well, it's just the dark. Yeah, it's the Darth Vader cave all over again.
Yeah, but here's the thing: the cave actually had a point in the fucking story, like Luke fighting himself, fighting Vader not with aggression because that he'll never win like that, and Link hinting at the relationship between the two of them, and it was cool and mysterious. Here it's just like, oh look. A fake-out Sith Rey that we can put in the trailer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so, oh god, and so then, Kylo Ren, turns up, having, tracked her down there, and he destroys the Wayfinder, and he fights with Rey, and Finn tries to stop her, but they fight like a bunch of sea, and it's fine, it's a cool thing.
I'd like to, because it's a conversation that they kind of have here in this fight, but like they very, I think, deliberately retconned what he was saying in The Last Jedi, which was, fuck the Jedi, fuck the Sith, let's just go off and do our own thing. And in this movie, he says, like, no, I wanted us both to be Sith. We'll just kill Palpatine, we'll both become the Sith Lords, which is just not what he was saying in the last. Like, his motivations have had a complete 180 since that movie.
Oh god. But then Leia reaches out with the Force to him to distract him, I guess. She succeeds, and Rey fucking stabs him, and this kills Leia?
I think it's just, she was kind of she was doing the same thing that Luke did, I think, in The Last Jedi. She was projecting herself, and I think what would have happened is the scene we eventually get, like, right after this, where he talks to someone, was supposed to be Carrie Fisher. I think he was supposed to be talking about Carrie Fisher, and they couldn't do that, obviously. I think she was trying to project herself, and she kind of did it, and it killed her.
Yeah. And so Leia dies. Rey feels that, just like, oh shit, Leia, no. So she heals Kylo and just like fucking belts it off in his TIE fighter thingy to the island where fucking Luke lived for ages. And
and he destroys the Wayfinder device.
Yeah, I think I mentioned that. And
okay.
And so Kylo's just left on that planet, just like, oh shit, what the fuck do I do now? He turns around, oh my god, it's fucking Harrison Ford. Han Solo is a Force ghost? They get around this by not making him blue and saying that he's a memory?
He does just repeat everything he said in that conversation with him previously.
In episode 7,
in episode 7, it's just lines from that scene.
And if it wasn't, oh god, you could tell they're trying to milk the emotion of the scene and have it turn out different, and I give them some credit for that. But it's something we've already seen, and we can kind of guess how it's gonna go, and it's not like he can stab him again. So Kylo Ren throws away his lightsaber, and apparently he's turned to the light now, because it's as easy as flicking a switch. and it comes with a complete personality 180, which is not how the fucking Force
Yeah.
works. That's
He's
not how it
snarky
works.
now.
Oh,
He's snarky now.
oh yeah. He has like a quip later on. He like jumps onto a chain thing, and he says, "Ow." And
Yeah,
also,
and then he like does like a come at me to like dudes. It's like, what the fuck? When did Kylo just become his dad? Like,
question. Does he say anything after this aside from "ow"? Does he have any lines in the rest of this movie?
I was gonna say yes, but I don't know.
I can't remember him speaking after this.
I think he has like a really short conversation with Rey. Because she's like, she calls him Ben, and then like he says something back, I think. But I honestly don't remember now.
I don't know
if he has any lines after this. I don't know.
Meanwhile, Rey, it just like burns the TIE fighter, just like, okay, so I'm gonna live here now. This is fine. I can do this. Is like the creepy green alien milk I can drink, and enough porgs for me to eat for the rest of my life. I'm good.
I tried. They had blue milk at Galaxy's Edge. It's very good.
And
it's like a blue slushy in that, but it's very good.
But then Luke appears as a Force ghost. He should have been in this movie way more. I don't know.
Mark Hamill was. He was that dude at the beginning, the alien guy, the that Finn and Poe got like the information about the spy from.
Oh,
he was that little alien.
I wondered who did that voice. I thought I recognized that voice. Who is that?
It's Mark Hamill
because he wanted to be in the movie more. Fucking hell.
Yeah, and then they killed him, and I was like, no, not again.
Damn it! Yeah. Oh god. So he basically gives Rey a talking to, so like, hey, buck up, kid. It's fine. You'll be alright. You'll be alright.
Everything I said in the last movie, I was wrong. Don't fucking listen to me.
Yeah. And again, I feel like Disney listened to my rescript, because remember I said I'd like to see Luke's X-Wing? Here's Luke X-Wing. He just like lifts it out of the fucking
And there's
ocean.
another, hey, you remember this? Remember this thing?
I'm sorry. You leave any vehicle under the ocean for at least a decade, as I'm assuming that's as much time as he's been there. It's not going to work ever again. You can't do that. You can't just like, whoop, let's just shake off the seaweed. He also gives her Leia's lightsaber. Don't know why Leia doesn't have it, but fine.
Right. He's like, she gave up the lightsaber so she can go be a general. What? She can't be a general and a Jedi?
In the fucking Clone Wars, the Jedi were generals.
Right.
They're not exclusive. So, Rey's...
This is where we get the digital Carrie Fisher, though. And digital Mark Hamill.
Oh, yeah. So,
flashback.
Rey goes off to Exegol. Ben Solo, who has now been completely redeemed... kind of getting off easy. He has like blown up 5 planets, like 4 more than his grandfather, who also kind of got off a bit easy, but at least he had the decency to die. And going off, as well as the bunch of resistance people going off there. Meanwhile, so Rey heads off, and Finn and Poe and Chewbacca all go back to the resistance headquarters, but find that Leia's dead. And Chewbacca, when he finds out that Leia's dead, it's a really heartbreaking scene. He falls from his knees like the last of his friends. Everyone he's ever been friends with for these past couple of decades is all dead. All he has left is a memory wiped C-3PO and R2-D2 who can't talk.
And Lando.
Yeah, but last... okay, fine,
yeah, no,
Lando.
I that really got me, like Chewie just like falling apart, like that got me real good.
Kind of wish we had got that scene like as a reaction to Han's death,
right? Yeah, he didn't really. I mean, I think that's also a response to in The Force Awakens how everyone's like Chewie got done dirty again.
Yeah, again, I feel like Disney listened to my rescripts when I had that scene with Luke comforting Chewie over Han's death, just like, oh my god, like too little too fucking late, but also like, thank you, new guy who's doing it, Jusunu Suwunu, I don't know your name, but good job. Like, I know it's just the body, it's not the voice, but still, like, poor Chewie.
Yeah.
And so, So basically, Leia's dead now. Oh, she's become one with the Force. Finn and Poe become now the joint generals, as I said, the Resistance. R2-D2 completely restores C-3PO's memories. Okay, cool. And turns out the Resistance fighters say that, oh, we can follow Rey to Exegol. We can confront the Emperor. Hooray! I'm sure this will go brilliantly for us. Stacey Tin, who's that?
Right. I mean, this, her getting the Wayfinder from Luke, and then, like, it just makes that whole thing with C-3PO even more pointless.
Yeah.
Because they didn't need it. Like, they literally could have looked, and she got all this information from Luke's notes. So Luke's notes probably would have had, hey, I already have one.
Yeah. But BTW picked up a Wayfinder. Could be useful.
Right. It makes zero sense why Luke didn't put in his notes that I found one. Pointless.
Rey uses it though, goes to Exegol, confronts Palpatine. And she's just like, you murder my parents, I want to kill you. She's like, don't strike her down in anger, Rey, that's the path to the dark side. But Palpatine is just like, oh yes, please do strike me down. It's like, classic Palpatine, goading you into falling to the dark side. He's like, because if you do, I'll die, and I want that. Wait, what? Why would Palpatine ever want to die? Surely he would want to come back to full strength. And he's like, because then my spirit will go into you, and I'll be like, cool and powerful. Well, how does that work? Does that mean you'll take her over, or like your strength will go into her? Is that a good deal for you or a bad deal for you? And now that you've told her this, isn't she not gonna want to do that? Like, she hasn't fallen to the dark side quite yet. She doesn't want the Sith to come back. She just wants you dead. So, like, best case scenario, she goes against her own self-interests. Like, at least in Return of the Jedi, I hate having to keep making these comparisons, but the movies won't let me do otherwise. In Return of the Jedi, Luke thought that the only way to save all of his friends was to kill Palpatine. And that's what was going to become the dark side. Like, he can't save the day just by sheer murder and striking someone down in anger. And it's like that, but stupid and makes no sense. And then the Resistance come in and engage with Palpatine's fleet. Is like, oh my god, there's fucking way too many of them. There's a bunch of bullshit with like communication towers. And they go on like one of the ships with like fucking horses, space horses, just like, okay, fine.
They're not on speeders.
Oh god, yeah. Immediately show them on horses, just like, god fucking hell. Ben comes along and he meets up with the Knights of Ren.
Wedge Antilles is there.
Oh yeah. So remember how we said in The Force Awakens that, in my rescript of The Force Awakens, that Wedge Antilles, apparently they contacted the actor who plays Wedge Antilles, Dennis Lawson, I believe his name is, and said, hey, do you want to be in the movie? And he said, no, because it's not a big enough part. Okay, fine, fair enough, because he's a more established actor now than he was back in the fucking 70s. That's fine. But apparently he's willing to come back for a fucking 4-second cameo in this movie.
Right, it's like not even 4 seconds. It's like half a second.
You never see him after this. He's just like, and I'm in the movie too, and never seen again.
Right. I think he says like, good piloting, Poe, and then never seen again.
You blew up the fucking second Death Star, man. You deserve better. But so he's there. Ben turns up, fights against the Knights of Ren. Rey uses the Force bond they have to teleport a lightsaber to him. Makes no fucking sense. Who even are the Knights of Ren? We don't know. Maybe you explained it in a comic that most people aren't going to read. God. And so Ben turns up and arrives to help Rey against Palpatine. And then Palpatine's like, oh, what's this? You both got a Force bond? I might drain that. Sack. And he like makes himself fully powered again. So it's just like, oh, was that his original plan all along, to like absorb their powers and get stronger? Was like the whole strike me down thing a lie? I don't know. It's not fucking explained. It looks kind of like a spur of the moment thing. And then I was like, unlimited power. And he fucking force lightnings the entire rebel fleet. It's just like, what? Oh, also. Oh yeah. So they don't have the Resistance don't have the ships to confront the sprung out of the ground like fucking Cabbage Patch Kids Sith fleet. But then Poe or Lando, or whoever it is, comes along. I think it's Lando. Comes along with a huge fucking armada of people, just people.
Oh, I just realized we totally forgot that they blew up Carrie Russell's planet. We mentioned that they blew up a planet, but I don't think we said that they said like blow up a planet that they know.
Oh my god! So that means Carrie Russell's dead, right?
Right, but they literally say blow up a planet that they know, as if I'm like, oh my god, they're gonna like blow up like Tatooine or something. Like, holy shit! And they blow up the planet that Carrie Russell's on. I'm like, oh, I don't give a shit. Like,
yeah.
I don't care about that planet.
But then it's like, oh no, Carrie Russell's dead. Nope, she's alive. Apparently she got off the planet just fine with no explanation whatsoever because this movie hates us. It spells out everything that doesn't need to be spelled out and doesn't spell out anything that could use a bit of spelling out. It's so infuriating. So she's there, the Rebel fleet is all there, and I'm just thinking like, someone saw that scene from that Futurama movie.
Yeah. And it's like, it's not a pretty, there's a few pretty shots in this movie, and the one that like you would want to be pretty, this big triumphant moment, isn't. It's just like a gross image of just a bunch of indescript ships that you can't tell like anything about.
Yeah, it's fucking stupid. And so, and then they try and fight Palpatine. He casually pushes Ben into the chasm that fucking Elsa fell down at the end of Last Crusade.
Right.
and so Rey's like about to be force lightning by him, but she's got a lightsaber. Then she's got 2 lightsabers, and apparently that's enough to force back force lightning, except the fact that he used his force lightning to disable almost the entire Rebel fleet, but he can't use it to stop one person. This is so inconsistent.
But she's all the Jedi.
Oh yeah, because she gets like nearly defeated, and she hears the voices apart, and they get a load of cameos. They get voice recordings of Alec Guinness as well as Ewan McGregor. They get Liam Neeson.
I have a full list. Hold on.
Okay.
There's a full list online. I just gotta like find it again. I had it. I know it's like every person who was a Jedi in live action, and then every person who like wanted to do it from animation. Okay. Angelique Perrin as Adi Gallia. I don't know who that is. Freddie Prinze Jr. as Kanan Jarrus. Liam Neeson as Qui-Gon Jinn. Ian McGregor and Alec Guinness as Obi-Wan. Jennifer Hale as Alia Secura. Hayden Christensen as Anakin Skywalker.
Ayla Secura.
Ayla. Again, I don't know. Ashley Ekinson as Eckstein as Ahsoka Tano. Olivia Diablo as Luminara Unduli, I don't know. Samuel L. Jackson as Mace Windu, and Frank Oz as Yoda. Holy shit.
yeah. It's they also got Hayden Christensen back as Anakin.
Yeah, Hayden Christensen of all people. You would think that he would want to like never touch Star Wars ever again.
You want me to fucking what now? But okay.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's kind of cool, but only in terms of like a masturbatory Star Wars geek fan thing. Like, oh, cool, they got Freddie Prinze Jr. Like, yeah, I mean, like, kind of smart at that. I thought it was kind of cool, but at the same time, like, I imagine just like one Jedi just going like, really? We're trusting it to this girl? Like, she's never won a fight in these movies. You do know that, right?
Right. Yeah, it's bad. It's like, yeah, it's not, it's something that like was kind of interesting in The Force Awakens, and then they just did it again but more, which is kind of what this movie is just, it's The Force Awakens again but more.
Yeah, and
and there's more lost cameos this time than there was the last time. There was a few lost cameos last time, but now there's even more lost cameos because it's J.J. Abrams.
They got like what's his name, Dominic Monaghan.
Charlie. Yeah.
They I just like, oh, see, I don't know him from Lost. I know him from Lord of the Rings. So it seems just like, what the fuck is Mary from Lord of the Rings doing here? But fine. And so she gets up and gives her the fight to carry on, and she defeats Palpatine. And he fucking goes Kamehameha and dies. Oh no! Now he's really dead. Don't fucking believe it. And apparently it was just too much for her, and she dies. But I'll be honest, when watching this movie, it kind of looked like she was just really tired. I didn't know she was dead for certain. Ben climbs up from the pit of everlasting gloom and sees that she's dead and force heals her. It's like, oh, Ben, your big nose brought me back to life. I don't know. And then, oh God, then they kiss. Oh no.
I have never been in a movie theater with everyone in the theater groaning at the same time. Like, it was so funny. Like, I groaned, and then I heard everyone else groaning, and then I couldn't stop laughing for like the rest of the movie.
Oh no, I don't like that. And you just know that whilst they groaned in your theatre, a few people groaned in my theatre, mainly me. You just know there were some Raylo fans out there squeeing in delight.
For like 4 seconds.
And then he dies. Literally.
I'm at least happy that he dies. I'm like, okay, good, he died.
I thought, like, okay, it's a happy ending. Like, here's the thing. Okay, so he's going to live now. Unlike Vader, he's going to have to face up to the consequences of his actions. He's back in the light side now, but that doesn't completely absolve him. Like, he's going to have to go through a long process of forgiveness and recrimination. And, oh, he's one with the Force. And then I felt a sudden disturb in the Force, as if millions of fangirls cried out in horror and were suddenly silenced. Like, take that. Fucking hell. Like, these two kiss, but Finn and Poe don't.
Okay, so this is another thing that JJ has quote unquote cleared up. He said God. it was a sibling kiss. Between Rey and Finn.
That makes it worse.
Rey and Kylo. They were really just like siblings more than anything else. So it's a sibling kiss.
I have a sister. We don't kiss like that.
Mr. Abrams, do you have a sibling? Like, maybe in this universe siblings kiss like that because we've seen it before, but like they didn't know.
It's like, gonna be an awkward Christmas of the Abrams household.
Right.
And so
bad.
And so they then the Resistance they destroy the remainder of the Sith Armada too fucking easily. Basically just one ship, and it takes out the rest of them because, you know, makes it easy. And then they all go back to the Resistance headquarters. We see two characters who were in the background previously, had like one or two lines. Two women, a kiss. And she's like, oh, so you're fine with having these two characters that we know nothing about and don't even know the names of kiss, but Poe and Finn, who have great chemistry and clearly got on very well, kissing? Apparently, no. Can't have that, Disney. You two-faced, hypocritical, faux-supportive assholes!
I mean, I guess it's kind of better than Endgame. Because at least they're both alive.
No, yeah, but Endgame, it feels like that came from a place of sincere, like, we're trying to do a good thing here.
I don't think it wasn't. It wasn't. It was the same thing as this one.
Fine. I'll take your word for it. But either way, I fucking like. It was like at first it was like, oh, hey, wait a minute, no. And it's just like, yeah, okay.
It's not because of China. I 100%. It is not because of China. China has been getting more progressive. There's been LGBT characters in Chinese movies. That's the excuse they use every single time, and it's no longer true.
But even so, there are other countries that would prefer not to have that, and it is convenient.
But they're not as big as big as markets as China is, which is what the number one thing was. Is China's such a big market, we can't afford to have our movies banned there.
Yeah, it's God, it's so. It's all just so, and it makes me so angry. Yes, it's representation. Great, cool. It's with characters we don't know and don't care. No offense to these characters, no offense to these actors. They're good actors, but it doesn't mean as much. It fucking doesn't mean as much.
Doesn't mean anything.
It means nothing. Cool for a bit of representation, but in terms of like character development, means nothing. It's nowhere near as impactful, and it's just no, fuck you, Disney. Fuck you. You're happy to take gay people's money. You're happy to throw them the occasional half of a bone, but when it comes to actual real representation with real main characters, you're stingy and I fucking hate you. Fucking hate you. God, I know hate is the part of the dark side, but I think I'm slightly justified here. But anyway, so, God. And then Mars gives Chewie, you mentioned that scene earlier with the thing that should have been Leia. Yeah, she gives him the medal. Because, like, everyone says, oh, why didn't Chewie get a medal in the end of episode 4? And that's the only reason, like, also, like, okay, fine. But also, A, why did it take him this long to get it? And B, why didn't Mars have it? Like, I know why.
It wasn't like Leia should have given it to him. Obviously, Leia wasn't going to be able to give it to him, but it's just so weird that it's Maz that gives it to him.
Why does Maz have all these plot important items just in her back pocket? Like lightsabers, medals, like what else has she got in there? Fucking plans for the Death Star? Fucking hell.
What does Maz do? Her and Hux, like I think more than anyone else in this franchise, were kind of set up in The Force Awakens to be a little bit more important, to kind of go somewhere, and neither of them do. Like, they just don't do anything.
Yeah.
Maz becomes the replacement for Leia after they run out of Carrie Fisher footage. That's it.
That is it. She was barely in the last one, and it's just, God, who cares? I'm so done with this movie by now. Just like, at this point in the movie, I've checked out. I checked out a while ago, but I completely checked out. So then Rey goes and hugs Finn and Poe, just like,
I like
best
that
friends.
Hug. That was nice.
That was nice. I wish it were characters that were better handled, but yeah, sure. And then Rey goes to Tatooine, to the old Last homestead that apparently no one moved into. Like, it's a farm that
I don't know. Would you want to move into a farm where 2 people were burned to death?
It's Tatooine. You take what you can get, and let's be honest, that means the price is lower. You know, murder houses are always lower in price. But then she takes the lightsabers of Leia and Luke and she buries them there, and she's like, okay, I get what you're going for, but maybe pick a more symbolic place that
Leia's not from there.
And
Leia's
Luke did not like that
ever
place.
Been to Tatooine.
Like, Luke was miserable there. He was really bored because he wanted to get out and fight the Empire there. And it's also the scene where the people who raised him died. Like, it's not a happy place for him.
No, it's not.
And then she buries them, and it turns out she's got a lightsaber made out of a fucking staff, I guess, with a yellow blade. And she's like, would have been cool
When did that happen?
A, when did that happen? And B, would have been cool to see you fight with that before now, but we're not going to get to see that. Maybe in a comic that most people aren't going to read. Then this random hillbilly turns up out of nowhere, just happens to be tooling around the desert, just like, I've been watching over this house for years for no reason, and no one's come around. Who are you? I'm Rey. And earlier in the movie, she's just like, I'm Rey, no one. And now she's like, I'm Rey. Oh, look, it's Luke and Leia's Force Ghost. I'm Rey Skywalker. And I'm just like, no, you have not earned that
to be
name.
fair, she is prompted at the end to, like, Rey who? Which is the weirdest thing ever, because no one asked Finn's last name.
No. It's Finn Stormtrooper?
Finn Dameron.
You know what I was hoping for? I was really Finn Dameron, I love it. But you know what I was really hoping? I was really hoping that Rey says, I don't know, I'm on my own. And then Rey says, okay, you're Rey Solo.
Yeah, like, she can, like, her accepting, like, her being whatever, like, Skywalker is just kind of dumb. Like, it's a really dumb thing to do, but, like, even if they were gonna do it that way, it could have been done so much better. She could have, like, actually had some kind of reason to feel like these people were her family. Like, definitely, I mean, from what we've seen, they were more of a family to her than Ben was to them. But, like,
yeah,
it kind of just makes me think that
really
she's like,
quickly though. Like, Leia was all too eager to just like hug her and stuff. It's just like, hello, person stranger I barely know, want to be part of the family? Okay, and that's how the movie ends.
Yeah,
she rolls off with BB-8 into the sunset.
And there's 2 sunsets, and
the Force theme plays.
Remember this one? Remember this one? Remember this one?
And then we see the credits. Screenplay by J.J. Abrams, Chris Terrio. Story by J.J. Abrams, Chris Terrio, Derek Connolly, and fucking Colin Trevorrow. Trevorrow, however the fuck you say his name.
Oh, yeah, I think it is Trevorrow.
Oh, yes, by all means, let's bring in the guy who wrote Jurassic World 2. Let's do that.
Right. Yeah, there's a lot of like weird. I think someone helped write Batman vs Superman in that group. There's a lot of really weird writing credits.
Why
here.
You don't? Let me tell you something. You don't need 4 people to come up with a story. You don't. 2 max. You get 2. Same 2 people who work in the screenplay can work on the fucking story. I'll live with that. 4 shows that they wanted to get as many high-paying people as they could into this, just to cover all the bases, because Disney was so afraid of this fucking movie. Disney, when they first bought this, was just like, oh, cool, we got Star Wars, we got so many characters, we're going to make so much bank on this. Now they're afraid of it, because they didn't realize the fan backlash is something that they hold sacred. Because it's not like Marvel. Marvel, the comics were around for years and years and years, but the movies were hit and miss, and they weren't held to be particularly sacred, even the ones we really liked. Now, it's different, but when they first made these movies, and they got in on that, and even then, it's mainly Marvel Studios that does it, not so much Disney. That's not the impression I get.
Yeah, it became a Disney thing and less Marvel Studios, because Disney saw that there was money in it.
Yeah, but oh god, and so and then that's the fucking movie. We get a bunch of cameos, like we said, previous things like Warwick Davis is back as an Ewok. Cool. Lin-Manuel Miranda is in it. Cool. It's and it's all those cameos that you mentioned earlier.
Right.
Oh,
it's like with this movie, I knew there was going to be cameos, so I was looking for it. Like with The Last Jedi, like there was like, because Bryan Johnson doesn't get bogged down in that stuff. Like he doesn't get bogged down and recognize this person. So there really wasn't a lot of that in that movie. In this movie and The Force Awakens, it's such a to their detriment.
And it shows because the previous 2 movies, audience is divided, critics pretty much united. We think this movie's great. Currently, it's not been out for a while. 57% on Rotten Tomatoes. Holy shit.
Yeah. I mean,
that's some prequel level bad reviews.
Their only saving grace is Cats.
Oh, yes.
Cats is so unimaginably bad that like you want to go see The Rise of Skywalker instead.
Like, we're bad, but we're not Cats bad.
Yeah, the CGI is finished, at least in this movie.
Yeah, and oh god, and I came away from this movie feeling empty. And my mother actually phoned me right afterwards to talk about something else. But I said, I just come out of this movie. And she's like, how was it? And I knew the movie was bad the minute I didn't say I liked it. I said, I don't know, I'm still thinking. And I thought, I shouldn't have to think about a Star Wars movie. Like, you can think about it, but I should know whether or not it's good, whether or not I even liked it right away. And I realized I didn't. Yeah, even after the Force Awakens, I was just like, oh, it was kind of good. Wait a minute. Here, no, I knew straight away that it wasn't good. It took me a while to think. And I wondered to myself, is it because it's a good movie, but a bad Star Wars story? And I realized, no, I can't even say that. It's not that good of a movie. It's competent. It looks good occasionally, most of the time. But it's not even a good movie. It's poorly written. The acting is good enough. It's not bad. It's good acting. It took them 3 fucking movies to be consistent in that regard, but still they did it. And it's just like, this is what we would... Because I've said it before, I'll say it again. Say what you like about the prequels. They were bad, but there was sincerity of purpose, and it was just one guy with a vision, with some good ideas that didn't work out, that took risks. This trilogy, these sequels, sloppy, boring, overly safe, designed by committee crap. And you know what? If you like it, Capers, if you enjoy this movie for whatever reason, that is okay. You're allowed to like it. Star Wars fandom, let's be honest, for a long time now, even before these movies came out, has been pretty toxic. I refuse to be part of it. I hate this movie. I don't like the characters. I don't like the ideas, and I don't like the direction they took. I'm not, and I'm going to criticize it, and I'm going to hold a grudge. I'm not going to make other people feel bad for liking it. I'm not going to do that, and I don't want any of you to do that here. If you've ever listened to me, Capers, listen to this. By all means, state loud and proud that you do not like this movie, but don't make other people feel bad for, talk to them about it. Maybe they might have some good ideas. Maybe you might be able to convince them, as long as you're not dicks about it. Because, let's be honest, it's a story about how there's light side and a dark side, and you shouldn't be part of the dark side, or people are too eager to be part of the dark side, and I'm not gonna be part of that. And here's the thing. Alex, ask me if this ruins Star Wars.
You cut out.
Alex, ask me if this ruins Star Wars.
Does this ruin Star Wars?
No, because Star Wars is so much more than the movies now. Initially, it was just the movies. But since then, both the new canon and the old canon, Star Wars is TV shows and video games and books and graphic novels and all sorts of things. There's so many stories, so many great stories, some of whom don't even touch any of the original characters. There's so many unique aspects about this world and the lore and the mythology and the history stretching back. It's bigger than anything. Disney, for all their faults, can't ruin it. They can't, because there's always going to be people who create cool stories, and that's happening right now. We got recently 2 great stories, The Mandalorian and Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, which I have not played yet, but I hear good things about, and I've been keeping up with The Mandalorian, and I highly suggest you do too. And it shows there are people who know what they're doing, who take George Lucas's vision and run with it in a way that they know works, and take it in new and interesting directions beyond the purview set by the original trilogy. And stories about hope and love and loss and freedom and the light and the dark and magic and monsters and Muppets. And it's wonderful. And it's pure. And it can't be destroyed. Not by Disney. Not even by George Lucas. Not by you. And not by me. And I know that even though these movies fucking suck, I can always go back to the stories that delighted me as a child. The stories that made me who I am today. When I was a kid, when I was 7 years old, I was reading Harry Potter. That got me into books. I was reading Spider-Man and X-Men. That got me into comics. And I was watching Star Wars, and that got me into film. It's why I have 2 degrees in screenwriting. It's why I went to some of the best universities. Well, I think pretty good at universities doing that. It's why I have this job, why I am a podcast host for a pop culture podcast. It's why I am the way I am, and you can't take that away from me, Disney. You can't. I know they didn't want to. No one sets out to make a bad movie. Disney is no exception. But the way they make movies is bad. I have said this before, I will say it again. Occasionally they strike gold when people dare to speak up and say, hey, I've got an idea, I think it could work, it's a bit different, let's see what we can do with it. When they focus on pure creativity, imagination, and step outside the box, which is what Star Wars was in many respects, they can create gold. And yes, Star Wars was influenced by many things that came before, Kurosawa, Flash Gordon, but in the process, it created something new and inspiring. There are people who unironically today, on census forms, state their religion as Jedi. That's how much it means. It's bigger than you. It's bigger than me. It's bigger than all of us. And sometimes there's bad. Sometimes there's a bit of darkness. But
you use Harry Potter as an example. Someone has been trying for a real long time to ruin it, and it still hasn't lost momentum.
Because you can't ruin something that was that great and inspired so many people, other people to do so many other great things, and not including fucking Crimes of Grindelwald, but that's another thing. And so these movies suck.
I mean, it's written by the person who's trying to ruin Harry Potter from the inside out.
Hey, so it looks like J.K. Rowling's got to have her own prequel trilogy to deal with.
Right.
That's fine.
She's a turf.
But you know what? It's fine. These movies suck. I hate them. I want to forget them. I hate that we got rid of the old canon. But you know what? Old canon's still there. I've still got Kyle Katarn and Jaina and Jason Solo and Jagged Fell and Prince Zizor and all these other wonderful characters. They haven't gone anywhere. They're not official, but you know what? Fucking hell. It's not like every single copy of Timothy Zahn's Thrawn trilogy suddenly vanished in smoke. I've still got them. You can still get them, and it's okay. And you know what? New canon? There's more opportunities for other great writers to come up with great new characters. Have you read fucking Dr. Aphra? Because I have, and I fucking love it. And so, I guess what I'm saying is, yeah, it's been a bit of a dark period, but you know what? There's still hope. As long as you hold on to that, and let go of your hatred, or rather just focus on the things that make you feel good rather than the things that make you feel bad, the spirit of Star Wars endures, and the original vision of George Lucas remains intact. And if you do that, then the Force will always be with you. Merry Christmas, Capers. I hope you all have a very happy New Year. And on that note, we're going to end the show. Thank you very much, Alex, for joining me today.
Yeah, thank you.
And if you enjoy the show, Capers, please tell your friends, shout it from the rooftops. And if you haven't already, go back and listen to some of our other super episodes, like our previous Star Wars episodes. We've done quite a few of them. You can listen to the show on iTunes, Podbean, YouTube, Spotify, or podcapers.com. If you want to get in touch with us, suggest show topics, or maybe come on the show yourself, you can find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at AP2HYC, or email us at podcapers at ap2hyc.com. Thank you very much to Dan Harris for our logo, the lovely microphone with the red and blue 3D glasses. Those are mine. And thank you for listening, Capers. Sorry we haven't had a few episodes recently. I don't know what the schedule is going to be like in the new year, but Podcapers shall return. Same as always. Cue the music.